Here we go, 1.2.1, graphing linear functions. So we're going to focus on, obviously, graphing linear functions. To be able to graph functions that are linear, the best form we want to use is slope-intercept form. So that should always be what we're thinking when we want to graph linear functions. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. That's our slope-intercept form, where m always stands for slope, b always stands for the y-intercept. And another way to think of slope is as, remember, rise over run. And when we're thinking about b, it is the y-intercept, which, remember, the y-intercept is where the graph intersects the y-axis. And remember, the y-axis, that's our vertical axis here. So we're going to start here with graphing y equals 4x minus 2. So it is in slope-intercept form because y is by itself. So our m is always what goes with x. So 4 is with x, so our slope is 4. B is always the constant or number on the end, which is negative 2. So I would recommend drawing out a coordinate plane here before you graph. So draw it, pause the video, and then we'll continue. So with our coordinate plane, we have a y-intercept at negative 2. So that means we have a point at negative 2 on the y-axis. So always start with graphing the y-intercept. Next, we have a slope of 4, and slope, remember, means rise over run. So another way to think about this, so we only have one number. We need a rise and a run. If it's just a whole number, it's the same thing as saying 4 over 1. So our rise is 4, our run is 1. So that means, and rise over run is always thinking of up or down and always to the right. So if it's positive 4 over 1, it means we go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, and that'll be our next point. And then from this point, we can go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And just do your best to connect these dots. I'm not the greatest. And these linear functions don't just go in one direction, they go in the other direction as well, so we would continue the trend. So if we went up 4 into the right one, that means we should go down 4 into the left one. And that'll continue this way. And it's good to put the arrowheads on the end to show that it's going forever in both directions. So just to recap, we graphed y equals 4x minus 2. Remember, m, or the slope, is always with x, so that's 4. B is always the y-intercept, the number on the end, so that's negative 2. So we start by graphing the y-intercept, so we plot a point on the y-axis at negative 2. Then we graph our slope as rise over run. Our rise is 4, our run is 1, so we go up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1. And that covers it. That's the main concept here for graphing linear functions. So you have 6 more functions that I'd like you to graph. So you can go ahead and pause the video and write down these equations, or you can watch with me, whatever you want to do. This one on the end is a little hard to see. That's 3 over 4. Yeah, let's keep it zoomed in here. So we have, to start, y equals negative 5x plus 2. So y is by itself, it's in slope-intercept form. So remember, m always goes with x, so we have m is negative 5. B is always the number on the end, so that's positive 2. So start by graphing your y-intercept, which is 2. Then do your slope, which is negative 5 here. So since our slope is negative 5, and you could think about it as negative 5 over 1, that means we go, instead of going up 5, we go down. So we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to negative 3. And over to the right one. So notice, always going to the right. So down 5 over 1. And this would be down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. So it goes a little off the page. Same with here. So we notice it's going down and to the right because it's negative. Negative always goes down to the right. And it should go up and to the left then. So we go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. And just the trend continues. With linear functions, there shouldn't be any bends or curves or anything. It should just stay a straight line. And do your best to connect it evenly. Okay. Number 2. Again, y is by itself. M is always with x, so m here is -3. B is always the number, -1. So we start with the y-intercept at -1, so we plot -1 on the y-axis. Our slope is -3, so that means we are going down 3 over 1 because it's negative. Negative is down, positive is up. So down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. And the trend would continue in the opposite direction to keep it a straight line. So we would go up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. And there you have it. Okay. Number 3, we've got our first slope that's a fraction. So this is 3 over 4. So slope is with x. So m is 3 over 4. Our b is 6. So again, always start with that y-intercept. So our b value, which is at +6. And we have a slope of 3 over 4. So that means we have a rise of 3 and a run of 4. So here is a rise of 3 and a run of 4, because it's 3 over 4. So that means we should go up 3 and over 4 to the right. Notice we're going off this graph. So to compensate, you could either just add some more in. So we go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Just kind of estimate it. Or you can always just go in the opposite direction. So if we go up and to the right, that means we should go down and to the left to continue the line. So we go down 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's okay if it ends up going off the graph. You can extend it a little bit. So if you want to actually create more of a grid here, you can do that. Or if you want to just kind of guess, that's fine too. Okay. We've got 3 more here. So I'll let you write down those 3 equations. I'll zoom in for you. So the first one is y equals -4 over 5x minus 3. Number 2 is y equals 4x. And number 3 is y equals 5. So go ahead, I want you to try those 3 on your own. Pause the video, and then we'll come back. All right, we're back. So again, number 4, we've got a line. It's in slope-intercept form. Y is by itself. So we can think about it in slope-intercept. So our m always goes with x. In this case, m is -4 over 5. Our y-intercept is always just the number, which in this case is -3. So we start by graphing the y-intercept, which is -3. So on the y-axis, -3. Then we do our slope. So our rise is -4, our run is 5. So because it's negative, that means we should go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the same trend would continue in the opposite direction. So if we went down 4 over 5, because it's negative, it means we should go up 4 to the left 5 to continue that exact trend. So the idea here, kind of the key rule of thumb, is if you have a positive slope, it's going to be moving up and to the right. If you have a negative slope, it'll be going down and to the right. So that's kind of a good check. So if you graphed and you're noticing the opposites happening, you need to redo it. You probably did it wrong. Number 4, y equals 4x. So if you notice this problem, this is the first one that does not have a b value shown. We're not adding anything. However, it is still in slope-intercept form because y is by itself. And our m is still always that value that goes with x, so in this case is 4. Our b value, notice, remember the equation is y equals mx plus b. In this case, we're not adding anything, so that just means our b value is 0. So we start at 0 on the y-axis. Our slope is 4, so that means we go up 4 over 1. Up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. And we would go the same in the opposite direction, so down 4 to the left 1. And you got your line. Make sure when you're graphing, always have the y-intercept exactly correct, and always just show these points so that I can see that you know what you're doing, that you know where these points are. If your line doesn't end up being perfectly straight, that's okay. This is not art class. Last one here is just y equals 5. So again, as we think about this in slope-intercept form, it is in slope-intercept form because y is by itself. So we need to know what m and what b are. So m, remember, always goes with x. In this case, we don't have an x. We have 0 x's. So that means our m is 0. Or you could think about it as 0 over 1. Our b value is just the number, no x. So we have a number, we're adding just 5. So that means our b value is 5, our m is 1, or 0. So we start at a y-intercept of 5. Since our slope is 0 over 1, it means we're going to be going up 0 to the right 1. Up 0 to the right 1, and so on. Same would go for the opposite direction, but you're noticing it's just a horizontal left to right line that goes through 5. It's kind of an interesting one. All right, that covers it for 1.2.1, graphing linear functions, and we're doing these in slope-intercept form. Okay, have a good one.